It's a rendezvous. It's a rendezvous. Rendezvous. Come on, Talu. I speak a language called love language. I speak a love language. You and me language. I speak a love language. My God's all language. Yeah. God got his language. It's a love language. It's a love language. All right, welcome back. God's got a language. You know, it's called love. That's his language. Amen. We're over here in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. We're talking about marriage. It's important that we understand what God feels about marriage, and we're not misled in any kind of way. Now, for the matters, let me put my glasses on here. Mr. Prophet got glasses. Yes, he does. Now, for the matters you wrote about, it is good for a man not to marry. But since there is so much immorality, each man should have his own wife, and each woman her own husband. The husband should fulfill his marital duties to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband. The wife's body does not belong to her alone, but also to her husband. In the same way, the husband's body does not belong to him alone, but also to his wife. Do not deprive each other except by mutual consent and for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer. Then come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. I say this as a concession, not as a command. I wish that all men were as I am, but each man has his own gift from God. One has this gift, another has that. Now to the unmarried and the widow I say, it is good for them to stay unmarried, as I am. But if they cannot control themselves, they should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. To the married I give this command, not I, but the Lord. A wife must not separate from her husband, but if she does, she must remain unmarried or else be reconciled to her husband. And the husband must not divorce his wife. Amen. Moving on. We're talking about what Paul here, Paul the Apostle, teaching us and what he thinks and what God thinks about marriage. And he says that, it's a misconception. America has made money off of marriage. America has used marriage as a prosperity vehicle and has been doing that for years. This is all part of the pattern of the world. And America has made marriage a spontaneous act. America has made marriage an idol. People idolize it. People spend their life savings on it. Marriage is not what it's supposed to be because America has glamorized it and made it monetary. Every divorce, there's money. Every marriage, there's money. There's lots of money being spent on these marriages. Okay? This is what it's about. And this is what people are doing. Don't deny it. This is it. He says that you're the weaker person. You're the weaker person. Just imagine two weak people getting married. They say that you're weak. God says you're weak because you have no self-control, which is a spiritual gift. So basically, these married folks, they look all like they're so good and this and it. They're weak. They're weak. Both of them together. They're one step away from hell. Both of them together. So it's like, wow, yeah, they're so weak, they barely can stay together. The husband looks at other women, wants to cheat on his wife. The wife looks at other men, wants to cheat on the husband. That's what you get from no self-control. I don't even know why, you got married. That's why God says, Paul says it's a concession. Wow. He says in verse 6, chapter 7, verse 6, I say this as a concession. A concession meaning is like, this is the second option. This isn't the first option. The first option is to not be married. Let's talk about the first option, which is the better option. The better option is to not be married. Now, what's going on with that? Why is it that America teaches the opposite? From the time you can understand, you're supposed to be getting married. When you're getting married is the question. You got a girlfriend. When you're getting married next. It's like this whole system that they put together. It's totally opposite of the Lord. And he said it. Hey, he said the world would be like this. It's not like it's a strange thing. And America obviously is doing the opposite of God in a lot of ways. America encourages marriages. It encourages weak people to marry. Paul says this is a concession and it shouldn't be done, but because of your lack of self-control, then you should marry. And I always like to think about the virgins waiting for the groom to come, and I remember the story of Jesus. There were some that left, and then he came, and those ones that weren't there, they were virgins, but they lost focus. They decided to leave and to do something else when they should have stayed. They didn't get in. The doors were shut. Even the virgins that have been holding their virginity and being devoted to the Lord, some of them might not make it if they don't focus. Don't be married. If you get married, then things are going to get probably worse for you because you already have no self-control. Why don't you just focus on God first? Build up your self-control. Build up the things that you need. Maybe then you get married at some point. But it should be you and God first. It's like for the virgin girl, this a single man, a single woman. It should be you and God. And it should be like that for years. I mean, Jesus apparently was in his 30s when he started his ministry. Okay, if that's true, then what was he doing up until 30? He was single and he was working on his craft. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to work on your craft with the Lord. And then once you develop and have faith with the Lord, then he gives you a wife. You don't just get them. You got to have something to keep them, and otherwise it's just failure. You're not supposed to be married right away. These people get married right away and they don't have any understanding of what to do. It says it's not good to be married. Why are you trying to pursue it? Why is it in your mind? Because they told you? Because America told you? Because you see it on the commercials, you see it on the magazine covers, you see it in the different shows, you see it on TV. See? They're communicating. They're telling you exactly what they want you to do. Go get married. Get married so we can make some money off of the process and the entire process. We're going to make some profit off of you by you getting married. And that's what they want, so they encourage that. But if you're from the world, then you go ahead and get married and you go through the process. Just like when you first went through the process for a loan and you realize you didn't need that loan. I shouldn't have took that loan. I didn't understand the process. Yeah, well, that's the same thing with the marriage. It's a worldly thing. Getting married in today's times is worldly. Shouldn't be done. It should be done a different way. Like I said, we talk about these things, but the way that the marriages, just to have a license is fine. I'm not talking about not having a license. I'm talking about marriage and the way that people view it. It's for the weak. It's not for the strong. It's for the weak. And then if you do get married, you should be strong before you do it. So that way, when you marry, you're strong, not weak. But most people are getting married because of their lack of control and their burning desire for passion and pleasure. See, all that's close to hell. So married folks, in my opinion, according to the word here, they're one step away from being in hell. One step away from being in hell. All right, well, that's the lesson for today. I hope you guys understand what it means to work on yourself first. Put yourself first with God before you think about a woman. Focus on God first and be his follower for some years to show that you have faith and you can be trustworthy to have different things like a wife and land. Okay, you guys have a great day.